How's it going, everybody? It's October 16th, and I just got back from opening night of Goosebumps. Alright. So, being October, month of Halloween, seeing this movie, thought I'd do a little review for you guys, tell you what I thought. Liven up the review a little bit. Got some music playing in the background, hope it's not too distracting. Now, before I get to this review, I just want to make one thing abundantly clear. And I have all 62 of the original books in a box in the attic. I grew up loving these books. And the TV show. I've always been a huge Goosebumps fan ever since the 3rd grade. Yeah, 3rd grade is when I first really started getting into Goosebumps. In my elementary school, I would read all the books and everything. And when I found out there was a TV show, I loved it. So, I mean, yeah, I love Goosebumps. I grew up loving them. Which I can also say, I love this movie. But, if you are not a Goosebumps fan, if you did not grow up reading the books, if you are not a fan of the TV show, you might want to second guess yourself if you want to see this movie. If you're a Goosebumps fan, you're going to love this. I really have no doubt in my mind about that. But if you don't, you might be a little confused as to what's happening in this movie. Alright, so basically Goosebumps, it stars Jack Black, which, funny casting choice, as R.L. Stine, the author of the Goosebumps books. You know, it was a fun movie. I mean, let me say right off the bat, you could tell this is a movie that was geared for kids. Opening night, theater was pretty packed, and the majority of it, the majority of it was parents with their small children. And I wish I've got some interesting stories about this too from my theater experience there. And you could tell it's a movie geared for kids. A bunch of parents took their small children. I don't know if it's G or PG rated, but you know, same difference. And you could tell it was a movie geared for kids. But if you like Goosebumps, it's definitely worth the shot for you too. Where do I start with this? Okay, so that being said about the movie being geared for kids, I will tell you right off the bat, the writing of this movie is not that good. This is one of those movies, when you watch the movie, it's very convenient. When I say convenient, it's that everything happens in a snowball effect, and it's like, oh, of course, that just so happened to happen. You know, it's kind of like a snowball effect. The events that happen in the movie, it's like, oh, that's convenient. Like, everything in this movie, you see something at the beginning of the movie, and it will come back down the line at the end of the movie. So the writing of this movie, it's really not that smart. Basically, the plot of the movie, to analyze it for you, it's basically a giant cat and mouse game with R.L. Stine, our 3 main kids, and not all, but some of the most notable Goosebumps monsters. Like, not all of them, like, going through some of these that I have, like, they only touched on a small amount of the Goosebumps monsters. Like, I'm going through my DVDs here trying to figure out which ones they... 1 second here. Like I know there is a pretty prominent scene with the Werewolf of Fever Swamp. That's one complaint I do have, because the movie, it's basically just a giant cat and mouse game with all of the monsters from, like, with select monsters from some of these books, and that's one complaint I do have. I wish they would have incorporated more of the books. You know, the ones they did do, like, in there, you see in the trailer, they've got Slappy, Night of the Living Dummy, which there were like 3 or 4 of those books. They had the Werewolf of Fever Swamp, they had a Shocker on Shock Street, that cover, and the Mummy, and they had all that, and Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes played part in a pretty funny scene. So, I'm sorry, I know this review probably sucks, it's off the top of my head right now, but I just wish they would have incorporated more of the book characters, because it's just a cat and mouse game, essentially. So, I mean, they were limited to what they could do. I wish they would have taken it to a bit more extensive of a storyline. But, oh, as I said, it's a movie geared for kids, so parents aren't going to be complaining about the writing when they're talking about that. Now, moving from writing onto acting. The acting in this movie is pretty good. You know, the Goosebumps, the TV show, like, you watch this show, the acting is so corny and all these, like this one, Ghost Beach. When I saw Ghost Beach, it pretty much blew me away at how cheesy it was. The acting in this movie is pretty good. I don't know who any of these actors. It's a lot of actors I wasn't familiar with. The main guy playing our main kid looks pretty much just like a Channing Tatum Jr. Is a smaller, skinnier Channing Tatum. Jack Black does an awesome job as R.L. Stine. I really love Jack Black. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's over the top. He's really hammy in it, but it makes it enjoyable to watch, especially since it's Goosebumps you're dealing with. One of my favorites, I really like the guy that played Champ. He was funny. I really liked him. He was good. And there's a cameo at the very end, which is really funny, too. A teacher at the high school is named Mr. Black, and it's a really funny cameo. And so the acting in this movie, it's relatively good. It's cheesy, it's hammy, but it's good. And it's not, and when I say cheesy and hammy, it's not as over the top as the TV show. The TV show was, in certain points, it had some problems with that. But it's exactly what you would expect out of a PG-rated kids horror movie. So they handled it really well with the acting and the writing. That was no problem. And the music score, I really liked that too. I saw in the end credits Danny Elfman did the music to it. It's a really cool, mystical, typical kind of Danny Elfman score. It had like a real harmonic, like choir type, at some of the points. That was pretty cool. And even the end credits were cool too. Like with they had all of the actual, like the book covers. And they were just kind of showing the book covers in animation, and it was really cool looking. So, Goosebumps, so the pros, you have to be a Goosebumps fan. Like, if you go into this movie having no knowledge of what Goosebumps or anything is, you're not gonna like it. You're gonna be confused. You're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? But if you're someone like me and you grew up loving this show, you're gonna like this movie. If you love the books, which I do, I've got all 62 of them. And that was my third, fourth, and fifth grade was reading all of them from. See if I remember. I think the first one was Welcome to Dead House, and the last one was Monster Blood 4, as far as the original series of books goes. So that's the big plan. I'm fairly confident, though, if you're a Goosebumps fan, you're gonna enjoy it. But if you're not, you might. It's fun for kids. If you have kids, it's a nice little Halloween-y type movie to show them. But my cons with the movie is I wish they would have incorporated more of the books. And some of the one-liners were terrible. I mean, like a lot of, especially Slappy, he's got some awful. Like, there's a scene in the police station, and he freezes a character, literally. There's a ray gun, and the character gets frozen, and Slappy sits there. You've got the right to remain silent. It's like, what can you, overall, I'll give Goosebumps 7.5 out of 10. It's hammy, it's over the top, it's cheesy, but it's a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable. It's very entertaining. Me being growing up the Goosebumps fan I was very enjoyable. Now, getting to my theater experiences, it was really, because as I previously stated, it was mainly all little kids and stuff, so I'm like, oh geez, what's going to happen here? And so, me and my dad, we went and saw it together, and we usually picked the same seats in the very back row corner seats. So not in the middle, but the very back row in the corner is where we usually sit. And there are all these little kids, and this family walks in. It's this guy wearing a Chicago Blackhawks jersey, comes in with his wife and son, and I wasn't really paying attention, but all of a sudden they're walking out in the middle of the road trying to get a seat, and I hear the father go, "Oh man, that's disgusting." His wife was like, "What, honey?" And he's like, someone left a cup full of cheese here, and I put my thumb in it. Oh, and this guy was like exaggerating like hell. I'm sitting there like, oh, this is interesting. And like the kids, all these little kids in the movie were like, normally I'd be pissed off about it, but in this case it was funny because these kids were like shouting their commentary about the movie as the movie was going on. So like there's one scene at the beginning where the kid calls the cops about something, and the cops are like, man, you might want to get your son checked out. We think he may be on drugs. And all the kids are like, no, he's not. They're like yelling at these kids are getting pissed off at the movie. Like, no, he's not. Like yelling at the screen. I thought it was pretty funny. And like some of these jump scares, like, because it was pretty packed. Like I was right here, and then my dad was in the seat to the right of me because we were in the corner. And then there was a bunch of little kids sitting right next to me, like in the seat right next to me. I didn't know them, but they were just in the seat right next to me. And like there's one scene when they're walking in the basement, and it's meant to be like a cheap jump scare. He walks past the wall, and the cuckoo clock thing comes out. And the kid, it wasn't even that big of a jump scare. It's just like the cuckoo clock thing comes out, and this kid next to me, I swear to God, like he freaked the fuck out. I feel like a terrible person for laughing, but it was pretty fun. And he started giggling after it too. It's not like anything bad happened. It's just all throughout the movie, these kids are giving their commentary too, and I'm assuming they were Goosebumps readers too, because when we first see Slappy, it's kind of like he pulls one of these where he's like this, and then he just like he does one of those. He turns around in the chair, and you hear Slappy, Slappy. It was like all these little kids like Slappy, Slappy, and saying Slappy. It was real. It was funny. And then there's one scene. If you see the movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's one scene towards the end. It's a very like unintentionally dramatic, kind of sad scene at the very end. It was all these kids started crying. I was like, oh my God. Like, you get me and my dad sitting there watching the movie, and then something happens near the end that's kind of sad, and these kids are started crying. I'm like, oh my God, what? So it was a very interactive crowd with this one. I really enjoyed it. Because normally, who likes people talking in movies? But when you have a bunch of little kids giving their commentary at the movie, I thought it was pretty funny. And some of the trailers I got, so of course since it's a kid's movie, I got a bunch of Pixar trailers. I got the trailer for the Angry Birds movie. Don't know how I feel about that one. I got the trailer for, what's that thing called? It was like Ratchet and Crank or something like that. It kind of reminded me of robots. But one thing that shocked the hell out of me with that trailer, they show the names at the end. It goes blank, blank, blank. And Sylvester Stallone is... Sylvester Stallone? Are you doing a voice in that? There was that, and then there was another one, and that trailer too, it's like, blank, 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 and Sylvester Stallone. I'm like, wow, Stallone? And they're showing clips of the movie, and one of the... It's like a sci-fi superhero... Kind of like The Incredibles meets robots, is kind of the vibe I got from it. And the tagline that shows up on the screen is... Get ready to kick some asteroids. I'm like... And then they showed another trailer too, coming summer 2016, The Secret Life of Pets. That trailer kind of made me chuckle, I'm not gonna lie. It's like a bunch of people leave and like showing the stuff their pets do while they're gone. It looks cheesy as all hell, but that trailer made me chuckle. I'd be lying if I said it then. And then, of course, you got the Peanuts movie coming out in a couple weeks, which I do plan on seeing, because I grew up loving the Peanuts gang and everything, so you probably see a review of that, too. But, okay, so ending out my review of Goosebumps here, I know it's probably not the best review, it's kind of just me rambling about it, but it's a good movie. If you're a Goosebumps fan, definitely check it out. I am fairly confident you will like it. If you like either the books, the TV show, one of them, or both, if you like just one of them, you'll like it. If you like the books but you don't like the TV show, I still say check the movie out, because the movie's cheesy, but it's not as cheesy as the show is. And if you have no prior knowledge of Goosebumps, then it's kind of iffy. I don't know if you'd enjoy something like this or not. My main gripes, the acting is hammy, but in an entertaining way, not in a bad way. It's not too hammy. It's enjoyable. I really liked it. And the writing, you could tell, as I said, the writing of this movie is kind of lazy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Everything that happens is very convenient. Like, one thing happens at the beginning of the movie, and of course it snowballs into something that happens later in the movie. It's like, of course. And the ending is kind of rushed. They threw an overly cliche, you know, just, okay, here's our ending, like, just a cliche ending at it. Other than that, though, I mean, I really can't think of too many problems. I love the music. I love the tone of the movie. It's all at nighttime. It's very moody, atmospheric. The end credits are really cool. The actors do a good job. Jack Black's a lot of fun as R.L. Stine. So, yeah, I really enjoyed Goosebumps. I definitely recommend that you and your family check it out this holiday season, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So, thank you for watching my review, and I will... I'll probably do a review for the Peanuts movie when that comes out, because I grew up not only a Goosebumps fan, but I grew up being a big Peanuts fan too, so definitely check that out. Thank you for watching my review, and I will talk to you guys later.